Hey guys, and welcome to Gwent, the Witcher card game. My name is Jaggerous, and today I have a Northern Realms Radovid deck for you guys. And that is a Blue Stripe Scout and Armor thinning deck. So the gist of this deck is that you have your Blue Stripe Scouts, which boost this unit and all Bronze Loyal Temerian units with the same power in your hand. So if you play one of these, it boosts all of these in your hand, deck, and on your side of the board, and all of these, and all of these, because these are all Temerians, assuming they all have the same power. If they get damaged, obviously they don't get boosted. So you want to play your Blue Stripe Scouts, and when you play a Blue Stripe Scout, because it has the same power as the Blue Stripe Commando, whenever you play a Blue Stripe Scout, it pulls a Blue Stripe Commando from your deck. So we can thin these from our deck. On top of that, we have Temerian Infantrymen, and when you play one Temerian Infantryman, it thins all copies of the unit from your deck. So then we'd thin these out as well. So that is some decent thinning. We have one Reaver Scout. Choose a different bronze ally and play a copy of it from your deck. So we can use Reaver Scouts to try and get out more Blue Stripe Scouts. And effectively in the first round, what you're aiming to do is thin all of these cards out of your deck. You can actually target draw Reaver Scout with reinforcements. So if you need to find a Blue Stripe Scout or a Reaver Scout, reinforcements is your friend. Other ways that you can thin your deck is that you have Sheila de Tansville, and when you play her, you may play a bronze special card from your hand, and then you draw the top card from your deck. So if we use Sheila to play Mahakam Ale, then we get a lot of points because Mahakam Ale boosts the random ally on each row by 4, plus the Sheila points, plus we get the card draw. So this is why this deck is very thinning heavy. And then once you've done this, that's kind of usually going to win you one round. Another round you can win with Trollolo. Every turn at the start of your turn, gain 2 armor. So you'll start gaining armor, and then you can remove the armor with the Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry. And when you remove armor from a unit, it then boosts itself by the amount of armor you removed. On top of that, we have Stennis, which gives us thinning and applies armor to units, so we have other targets for armor. We have Death Mold, which will allow us to clear weather. Alternatively, we can use him for Alzur's Thunder to remove an opponent. And then we have Neneki, should we thin too heavily, or our opponent plays, say, some thinning as well. Neneki's good to be able to put cards back into your deck, so that you know what you're going to draw with Dijkstra. And actually, you're okay to play Dijkstra early on if you have, say, Shani in hand, because if you have Shani in hand, if you play Dijkstra, you can still win a game by playing something like Shani into Prince Stennis or Shani into Trollolo, for example. The other 2 golds are more kind of personal preference. I like Muzzle because you can use it to counter a lot of your opponent's strategies, and I like Igni, again, similarly, because often you can get a lot of value out of Igni. But these are the golds that are kind of more up for choice. You could run Royal Decree, you could run Vernon Roach, for example. I find that you don't often get enough good targets to make him worthwhile. You could run Handmaiden's Blue Dream. That works quite nicely with Dijkstra, but as this deck is so thin heavy anyway, I feel like, it's alright. You could run Philippa, but if you play Dijkstra and draw Philippa, sometimes it can kill your Dijkstra and ruin your day. So again, that's one of the reasons I don't run that. And I have tried out this deck with John Natalis, but I think you need to have more than one tactics card if you're going to run John Natalis, because that's kind of what he does. He draws a tactics card. And if you're running Commander's Horn, it kind of acts at odds with Mahakam Ale, because Commander's Horn wants you to row stack, and Mahakam Ale wants you to spread your units out. So I took that out in favor of Igni. So yeah, this is the deck. If you like this deck, hit that thumbs up button. We have Radovid as our leader, so you can also lock units, which is quite useful. I mean, you could run other leaders with this. I guess you could run Foltest and it would be fine, but I just like having the guaranteed lock ability. I think it's really useful. And on top of that, he's, 14 points. So even if they aren't good lock targets, he's a decent number of points. Anyway, guys, that is the deck. And without further ado, I'm going to jump into a ranked game and I'll showcase this deck in action for you.
Of course, Fred.
Checkmate.
Okay, so we're up against Bran, which is fairly standard. The mulligan is quite simple. You want to get rid of all Blue Stripe Commandos, and you want to keep only one Temerian Infantryman. So at the moment, we're just getting rid of our Blue Stripes Commandos. Actually, we didn't get any Temerian Infantrymen, but this is more or less okay. We can always try and find them with, say, Dijkstra, or if we had reinforcements with that. We have 2 Ales and no Sheila, so I would have probably mulliganed an Ale if I had an extra mulligan, but that's not always the case either. Fortunately, what we do have is we do have Blue Stripe Scouts, and we do have Reaver Scout, so we can actually target pull a Blue Stripe Scout with a Reaver Scout. We could potentially muzzle the Morgvarg. That's not a bad muzzle target, to be honest. But he's also an alright lock target, so we could always save the muzzle for more points. Ideally, in this matchup, we're going to want to lock Ceres. Although it looks like he's not playing Ceres, although he may have her in hand. that also could be the situation.
For Skelliger!
Okay, so this is kind of an issue. We can lock this and Morkvarg, and that's an okay lock as well. I guess he doesn't have Ceres. This is what this is kind of suggesting to me, is that he doesn't have Ceres. Unfortunately, he got lucky and it hit these guys, which means they're not going to get boosted, which is quite unfortunate.
Checkmate.
We'll spread our units out here, and by spreading our units out, what we've basically achieved is we're setting up for playing a Mahakam Ale should we want to. And actually, he's chosen to pass. So this is going to trigger. This is on a 1-turn timer, so he's going to boost the lowest ally by 6 and damage the highest enemy by 6. So that means he will boost... So he'll actually gain 12 points. So I'm 13 points down at the moment, which means I need to make up that many points. I need to make up about 13 points. We can do that with Muzzle. So we'll just take this. This is 16 points. Then even if his thing triggers, which it has, we are still ahead. We take the round 1 card down. We haven't thinned our deck very much. That's the only issue I have here. You know, we're at risk of drawing 2 blue stripe commandos, for example. Hopefully we find a Temerian, but we can now use this round to thin, basically. And oh, there's Sheila. This is actually really good, because we can basically drain out his cards this round. And then on the final round, what we can do is we can play Shani into Trollolo. So let's just leave it at that. The thing is, if we play Trollolo, we do risk artifact compression. So that is something just to be a little bit aware of. In terms of what happens here. But for now, we're going to try and thin out these remaining blue stripe scouts. We haven't actually gotten our Temerian infantryman yet, which is quite interesting. But it turns out this is a veteran deck. It's not your standard discard strategy. It is a veteran strategy. But all in all, I think this game is going really well for us. He obviously didn't think that we could catch him with the Wolfsbane trigger, and he was in fact mistaken. So we haven't thinned our Temerians yet, but we have thinned all our blue stripe scouts, so we're okay to draw here. In which case, what we'll do is we'll play Sheila.
No interest in politics.
And then we'll play an Ale. We'll keep premium Ale. And we've drawn Death Mold. So this is kind of why this is nice, because again, we're thinning our deck. We're down to 8 cards here. And we can still play Trollolo. Trollolo is totally... Not Trollolo, sorry. Dijkstra is totally a valid play. Although if we're going to play Dijkstra, ideally we want to wait until we're in a situation where there's an Igni target. Because should we pull Igni, you know, we want to deal with that. We can clear this weather, no bother, and, you know, it's not going to be an issue for us. We're having a long round here, so clearing weather is good. Although I maybe wanted to play Trollolo a little earlier. As it is, we're just going to get rid of that. The other thing we could potentially do is if we have a situation where Shayla dies, we can Shani her and draw another card. Right, so we'll play Trollolo now. We'll play him on the front row. Against Harpooners, I just like to spread my units out. We have one Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry in hand, so we have options in that regard.
Seen it all already.
Okay, so at the moment we have an option for Igni, so here is a good time to Dijkstra, because if we play Dijkstra in the back row, that makes it 25, so we'll get an Igni if we pull it. So we're going to Dijkstra, reinforcements, and this can actually allow us to thin our Temerian infantrymen, which also gives us 18 points. Although it does row stack, which helps him with his Harpooners, but, you know, ultimately it's a huge number of points. Into Stennis, we'll play him on the front row, into a Dunbanner.
I'm itching for that butt.
And, there it goes. There it goes. This is the power of the deck. We didn't even need to go to round 3. I think he messed up with the pass in round 1, to be honest. That early pass, thinking that I couldn't catch up 16 points was silly. You know, Muzzle is such a common card that he should have expected it, and he should have just taken the tempo and allowed it, used it to allow him to get further ahead. But sometimes that's just the way the game goes, and you can kind of see the strategy of the deck and how the thinning really works. I'm going to jump into another game now, and I'll showcase this deck in action once more for you.
Onward! Attack!
Do not test my patience.
Okay, so we're up against Foltest, and Foltest is likely to be a similar thing. Sometimes with Foltest you do get machines, and ballistas do quite well against this strategy. This is actually a very, very good opening hand. The only thing that we don't have that we would maybe like is a Mahakam Ale. But we actually have ways of thinning all of our blue stripe scouts here. We could mulligan the Temerian because we can draw him with reinforcements, but we can also draw Trollolo with reinforcements. So all in all, I think I'm just gonna... Am I gonna leave it at this? This is the thing, I think we mulligan Naneki, actually. We don't need her. We don't want a blue stripe scout. And there's Trollolo. So I could mulligan the reinforcements here. I think we just leave it at this and then accept the fact that we might not be able to Sheila this round. I think that's okay. So we open with a blue stripe scout.
Regroup.
As is the standard. Everyone gets buffed. Everyone's having a good time. And this is a time where if you could remove a Blue Stripe Scout, they might not have options to play another one. They might only have Reaver Scout. So then if you could remove a Blue Stripe Scout, you could deny their Reaver Scout.
But we're broke as shit.
I'm going to play Reaver Scout here as opposed to playing the one in my hand,
Elves
just to,
must die!
ensure that that doesn't happen. We are spreading our units out. We could create a little kind of pocket. We haven't done that. So that is something to maybe be aware of.
Regroup.
So this is what I mean. He's played one. And here, to be honest, I'm going to just Alzur's Thunder it. Because this way, if he doesn't have another one to play, then we've kind of messed up his strategy. He had reinforcements.
Elves must die!
So we can play our last one from hand. And then we also have our Temerians. And actually, I'm going to do this. I have Igni, though. So if he row stacks, this could be huge for us. I'm going to spread my units out. Nobody expects Igni at the moment. It's not that commonly a run of a card.
But we're
So
broke as
it's kind of
shit,
good in that
peddlers.
regard. Go on, stack them.
Bloody non-humans.
Yes! Oh, we have to take this Igni. We have to take this Igni. Oh, it's so painful. What is that? 35, 40 point Igni? Not your lucky day, buddy. It's just... I mean, he has all these crewmen as well, so Foltest is a crewman, so we wanted to just burn those crewman pockets. Like, we could have waited for the Temerians, and you can see he's just like... Oh. He's just pieced out of this round. This is so good. The only cards we haven't thinned are our Temerian infantrymen, but we can look to do that this round. This isn't a deck that you often dry pass into. I mean, what we could do as well is we could just pass and go into the final round, but if we do that, we aren't looking for the Trollolo win with the Resurrect, so I think we play into this round. And again, we can thin our deck more. We can play Trollolo and always res him, so I think at the moment we're actually in a good spot. Hopefully he's not running armor, because Trollolo, you have the risk that they try and take your armor. That is an early Dijkstra.
Come to Pappy.
Temerians and
For me, Bilberry's honor.
Ronvid. We want to lock Ronvid, but we maybe don't want to lock him just yet, to be honest. Let's thin these.
I don't want to.
And you can see now we have units on all rows because he played Dijkstra, so we can then play Shayla into the Ale, which is another huge tempo play, and thins our deck even more. So once he has two crewmen out, that's probably when... I was going to say once he has two crewmen out, that's when I'll look to play this, but...
To the dungeon with
We'll
him.
unlock you, and we'll lock Ronvid. And by locking Ronvid, it stops him from coming back, and it denies him a crewman, which means if the rest of his cards are machines, he no longer has that benefit. And the fact that he's playing Ronvid basically tells me that he's running machines, because it's just what you do. So if we play the Shayla now, we'll play that on the front row.
My studies
Into the Ale.
than
This has now made these different amounts of strength. Although the trebuchets actually they just hit adjacent, so this isn't so useful. We have Naneki. We can actually target draw Stennis. And this is what I mean by like super thinning your deck. We have 3 cavalry, an Ale, Dijkstra, and Stennis. So if we target draw Stennis, he will draw us a Dunbanner guaranteed. We're guaranteed a Dunbanner if we use reinforcements. Or what we could do is, reinforcements our own, and that would be fine too. We have to decide when it is we want to do it, however. Like, when do we want to play these? I think we play Muzzle now. There's nothing of consequence that he's going to play, really. I don't think he's going to play... I guess he could have played a crewman, but I think he would have played a crewman before he played his machines. So taking a Muzzle for 16, I think, is worthwhile. And then keeping Naneki, what it allows us to do is then, if we draw Dijkstra, we can set it up. So it's quite good in that regard. Okay, so now we take the reinforcements play into Stennis, because again, it's more thinning.
I'm not afraid.
Into a Dunbanner, and this is just the 2-0 game. Like, the whole point is we weren't even trying to 2-0, we're just thinning out our cards and making a lot of tempo, and forcing our opponent to play cards such that then, in the final round, we can play, Shani into Trollolo. That's kind of the idea, but it seems to be that everyone just forfeits. It's just what's going on at the moment. So, what can you do? What can you do? I'm going to jump into one more game, and we'll see if we can actually make it to round 3 this time.
Mead! More mead!
To the dungeon with him.
Okay, so it's once again King Bran, and I wonder if this King Bran will be discard or whether it will be veteran. I mean, it could be, can be. Occasionally, that's what happens. Not often, but occasionally. So we mulligan a Blue Stripe Commando, we mulligan a Temerian Infantryman. So we've got 2 Blue Stripes here, and it's just looking for ways to play those. We also don't need our Dunbanner till later on, and because we've blacklisted both the Blue Stripe Commandos and the Temerians, I'm quite comfortable making this mulligan. and it was a worthwhile mulligan. We have Sheila, but again, we don't have an ale. But all in all, I think it's still pretty okay. The only issue we have is that we can't quite mulligan, or we can't quite thin out all of our blue stripe scouts. We can only thin out
Bloody non-humans.
2 of them, because we don't have a way of drawing the 3rd. But we can thin the last commando with the infantryman. Okay, so it's veteran once again.
Die!
And it's interesting, he's playing his veterans before he plays his Bran, because by doing this, he then buffs the Bran and gets more value from it. Although actually, I believe if Bran was on the board, he'd get buffed too. This is kind of okay for us, because she's likely to... he's likely to... what's the word? Can't think what I'm trying to say. We'll play this at the moment.
I don't want to die.
He's likely to... Nope, it's gone. Completely gone. Whatever. Oh, he's likely to have a good Igni target. That's what I was going to say. Because obviously his units have quite high strength.
Seen it all already. And then some.
So the question we have now is how do we play into this? If he plays discard and he discards Axeman, he can definitely catch up 12 points. We could play Muzzle and just get the 8. We're not likely to see a better target, to be honest. So we could just take the 8. But by doing that, we are denying value in the... Igni, because then he can spread units out more. I think we take this. It also protects this row. Although, like, you know, it was only adding up to 20, so it hasn't really... It's actually set up an Igni, if anything. It is a big tempo play, though. And I think by making tempo plays, we're kind of giving ourselves a decent chance. Now it's 43 to 15. What's he going to get from this? This is possibly where we pass. The alternative is we play Radovid, but I think we have to hold Radovid. We can play Death Mold into Alza's Thunder. I'm just wondering what's his best way of making up 15 points. If he has Muzzle, he can just Muzzle and that would make up 15 points. We could play Dijkstra. Dijkstra's actually not terrible. The only problem is actually, no, if Dijkstra draws Shani. If Dijkstra draws Shani, then we are fucked. So we can't play Dijkstra. We can play Death Mold into Alza's Thunder, but maybe we save that for later. I think we have to pass. I think we have to pass, because we don't really want to invest any of these cards in this round. Well, we've thinned our deck fairly sufficiently as well, so we should draw well. And then we just have to hope he can't catch us in one card. I mean, he might be able to catch us with Bran. It depends on what he discards. But typically veterans, what they want to do is they want to discard good resurrect targets. So here he'd have to discard 3... Oh, he's got more Frog. Is that enough? Oh, it's tied! Is there Ceres? Oh, it's Wolfsbane. So it's tied. This is very interesting. Okay, so this is the decider, I guess. With we have 1 card advantage. Reinforcements and Ale. This is actually really good. This is a really good hand. In all honesty, I'm just going to leave it at this. We could mulligan this, but I don't want to pull a Blue Stripe Scout, right? And I want to have this out so in case I pull a Reaver Scout, so let's leave it at that. So Wolfsbane is going to trigger on his next turn. So basically with Wolfsbane, what we want to do is it hits the highest enemy, so we want to play a small enemy. If we have a small enemy, we want to play a small enemy.
We've no time to lose.
What's he going to discard? This is where it gets interesting, because obviously he wants to res big units. We do have last play, though, so we can kind of hold our Igni for the best possible opportunity. So here what we're going to do...
Your will be done, sire.
...is... We could Rain, actually. It would force him to resurrect Gremist. How many turns are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So ultimately Rain is actually worth more if he can't clear it. And if we can force his Gremist res into something worse, that's actually decent. So let's go with Rain. The only problem actually though is he does have the Armor Smith, so this was a poor decision. I just realized I saw the Armor Smiths in his graveyard. But there the Wolfsbane only gave him, you know, it only gave him 3 value on my side. And then if we did have a Shani, it gave us a Shani target. As it is, we don't have a Shani.
Let's not get in the way of me axe.
Okay, so now we play Trollolo. The risk we have is that he's gonna get banished, basically. Like he might have Coral, and that does counter Trollolo because it just kills him. Just kills him. And what we'll probably do next is reinforcements into Stennis into something else. that'll give us a heavy cavalry, a blue stripe scout, or a reaver scout. The only problem is if it gives us a reaver scout, we don't have a target for it. So it might be worth playing the Dunbanner heavy cavalry now.
Seen it all already. And then some.
And just taking this armor, because we can find more Dunbanner. That's going to be easy. So let's do this first. And that means that if we do pull a reaver scout, that we'll still see value in the card that we draw, basically. So at the moment we have a 12-point Igni. He's gonna hit my Trollolo, right? Did he just got an 11? Holy shit, he did. So maybe we Dijkstra. If we Dijkstra, what are we likely to see? If we get Shani, we can bring it back. Let's do this.
Lots of prior experience.
The alternative would be to stack the rows.
For the king!
And then we pull one more card. Naneki. Do I want to put him back in the deck? Have I played reinforcements? I don't think I've played reinforcements. No, so if I put him back in the deck, I can just reinforcements him. So we didn't get Shani, but we got a way to still redraw our Trollolo. The only risk we have, basically, with doing this is that we might not pull an armor drawing strategy or removing strategy with Shayla. We could draw something different, but ultimately I think this is fine. Oh man, the Igni's gonna be so good. So yeah, we want Trollolo here. And we'll pop him out. And then the thing is, Sheila, if she gives us Reaver Scout or Dunbanner Heavy Cavalry, then we have ways of drawing into the final Dunbanner. Oh wait, he hasn't played. My bad, he hasn't played Gremist. For some reason I thought he'd played Gremist, but he clearly hasn't. Can I make two of these the same strength? If I Radovid this one and this one, then there'll be two 11s. But now we play Shayla.
My studies are
into the ale. And then we Radovid. Oh, Shani. Okay, so Shani we can draw Deathmold. Or we can draw... that's about it. Deathmold. Just rain everywhere. We could rely on rain RNG, but it's maybe not smart. He's gonna repair dudes. Like, this is the Tordarok Armorsmith. Unless it's decoy. It might be decoy. I still think this rain has worked out more value than you would expect.
Gods, not a moment's peace.
Oh, is he gonna stack again? Go on, stack him. Oh, it's gonna be such a big Igni. You know what they call that? They call it a big knee. Oh, come on! I didn't even get to do it! They keep forfeiting. You remember when I said I was hoping this would go to round 3? Because we tied here, it didn't happen. Oh man, I was so ready for that. You know, we were gonna lock it, we're gonna set up the 3 11s, it was gonna be beautiful. And this guy just did not enjoy life, basically. He's like, nah mate, sorry. Never lucky. I love the baby rage. Well, we got our daily rewards. Fine. So yeah, that is the deck. That is the Foltest deck. It was basically a variant of the deck that Freddybabes played at Gwent Slam. He played a similar Radovid deck. To this, this is, you know, I've made some tweaks. I took out John Natalis, for example, and honestly, it performs really well. Sometimes you can brick your hand in the mulligan if you end up with 3 Temerans and 3 Commandos. But in general, I would say that it draws fairly consistently and plays very consistently because of how much thinning there is. And with Naneki, it gives you options, should they discard your Trollolo or whatnot, that you can find it again. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoy this Gwent content, you can subscribe to the channel. You can catch me live streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/Jaggerous. And on Twitter, I'm @Jaggerous, so if you want to follow me on there, I appreciate it. Beyond that, have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll hopefully catch you in the next video. Bye!